Are you prepared for the next crisis? Look, folks, whether it's a natural disaster, economic turmoil, or any unforeseen event, having a reliable food supply can be the difference between making it through and, well, not. Here in the North, we know a thing or two about tough conditions. That's why we take prepping seriously. We understand that self-reliance starts with being able to feed yourself and your loved ones when the unexpected hits. Welcome to Prepper Items, where we explore everything from essential supplies and survival gear to strategies and solutions for being prepared for any situation. In today's video, we're diving deep into a topic that's close to every prepper's heart: food storage. We'll cover the must-have food items, how to store them properly to make them last, and some insider tips to ensure your stockpile is ready when you need it most. So grab your notebooks and let's get started. Let's face it, in a crisis situation, the grocery store shelves are going to be empty faster than you can say, earthquake. Roads might be closed, supply chains disrupted, you can't rely on getting to the store, let alone finding what you need. That's where having a well-stocked pantry, or should I say, a prepper pantry, really makes all the difference. We're talking about having enough food on hand to sustain yourself and your family for an extended period. Think of it as your own personal grocery store, ready to go whenever you need it. No panic, no worries about shortages, just peace of mind knowing you've got this covered. Now, building a prepper pantry might seem daunting, especially if you're just starting out. But don't worry, we're going to break it down step by step, making it easy to understand and even easier to implement. Alright, let's talk about choosing the right food for your prepper pantry. The first thing we look at is shelf life. We want foods that will stand the test of time, that can last for months, even years without going bad. Think about it. In a grid-down situation, you won't have the luxury of running to the store for fresh produce every few days. That's why we focus on shelf-stable items that can withstand the test of time. We're talking about things like rice, beans, lentils, oats. These are your workhorses. They have a long shelf life, some lasting for years, even decades if stored properly. And don't forget about canned goods. Canned fruits, vegetables, meats, and even ready-made meals can be lifesavers in a pinch. Just make sure to check those expiration dates and rotate your stock regularly. Now, while shelf life is crucial, we can't just be filling our pantries with junk food that will leave us feeling sluggish and malnourished. We need to think about nutritional value. In a crisis, your body will need all the nutrients it can get to stay healthy and energized. So, when choosing food storage items, we want to focus on a balance of carbohydrates, proteins, and healthy fats. Carbohydrates, like those found in rice, pasta, and oats, will provide you with energy. Protein, which you can get from beans, lentils, canned meats, and nuts, is essential for building and repairing tissues. And don't forget about those healthy fats. They're important for hormone production and overall well-being. Look for things like olive oil, coconut oil, and nut butters, which can add flavor and nutrition to your meals. Alright, preppers, let's talk about the backbone of any good food stockpile: basic food staples. These are your workhorse items. The ones that provide the calories and energy you need to get through tough times. And when it comes to long-lasting, calorie-dense options, you can't go wrong with grains. First up, we've got rice, white rice, brown rice, whatever you prefer. Rice is affordable, stores well, and it's incredibly versatile. You can eat it plain, use it in stir-fries, make rice pudding. The possibilities are endless. Next, we have oats. Oats are another great source of energy, and they're packed with fiber, which is important for digestion, especially when your diet might be a little less than ideal. Oatmeal is a quick and easy breakfast option, but you can also use oats in baking, granola bars, and more. And finally, for grains, don't forget about pasta. Pasta is another shelf-stable staple that can be used in countless ways. Whether you prefer spaghetti, macaroni, or penne, having a good supply of pasta on hand will give you plenty of meal options during an emergency. Now let's move on to legumes: beans, lentils, and chickpeas. These little guys are nutritional powerhouses loaded with protein, fiber, and essential nutrients. Plus, they're relatively inexpensive and have a long shelf life. Just make sure you store them properly in airtight containers to keep out moisture and pests. You can use beans and lentils in soups, stews, chilies, or even make veggie burgers. They're a great way to add some substance and nutrition to your meals without relying heavily on meat. And chickpeas, well, they're the star of the show when it comes to hummus, a delicious and nutritious dip, and no pantry is complete without flour and baking essentials. Flour is incredibly versatile. You can use it to make bread, pancakes, biscuits, and thicken sauces. Plus, having the ability to bake your own bread can be a real morale booster in a grid-down situation. Don't forget about baking powder, baking soda, and yeast. These ingredients are essential for leavening and adding that light and fluffy texture to your baked goods. Trust me, a little bit of homemade bread can go a long way in a crisis. Moving forward, let's talk about convenience. When you're dealing with a crisis situation, the last thing you want to worry about is spending hours in the kitchen. That's where ready-to-eat foods come in, and canned goods are a staple for a reason. They're affordable, readily available, and last for ages. When it comes to canned goods, variety is key. Stock up on canned meats like tuna, chicken, and salmon. These are great sources of protein and can be added to salads, sandwiches, or eaten straight from the can. Don't forget about canned vegetables: corn, peas, carrots, green beans. These will add important vitamins and minerals to your diet, and for a quick and comforting meal, you can't beat a hearty soup. Look for low-sodium options or simply rinse the soup before eating to reduce your salt intake. Remember, always check the expiration dates on your canned goods and practice proper storage techniques to maximize their shelf life. Keep them in a cool, dry place, away from direct sunlight and extreme temperatures. Now, if you're looking for lightweight options with an even longer shelf life, freeze-dried meals are the way to go. These meals are lightweight, compact, and require minimal water and cooking time, making them perfect for bugging out or packing in an emergency kit. You can find freeze-dried meals in a variety of cuisines, from breakfast scrambles to pasta dishes to full-on entrees. Add boiling water, let it sit for a bit, and you've got yourself a hot, satisfying meal. And don't forget about snacks. Snacks are essential for keeping your energy levels up between meals, especially if you're engaged in physically demanding activities. Protein bars, granola bars, trail mix, and jerky are all great options that provide a good balance of protein, carbohydrates, and healthy fats. Remember, a well-stocked pantry should include a variety of ready-to-eat options to cover all your bases. You want to be prepared for any situation, from a short-term power outage to a long-term grid-down scenario. Next, if you're serious about long-term food storage, you need to get familiar with dehydration. Dehydrated foods are lightweight, compact, and can last for years if stored properly. Plus, it's a great way to preserve your garden harvest and prevent food waste. Fruits like berries, bananas, and apples dehydrate beautifully and make a tasty and nutritious snack. You can also use them in trail mixes, granola bars, or rehydrate them for use in baking. Vegetables like carrots, celery, and greens are also excellent candidates for dehydration. Dehydrated veggies can be tossed into soups, stews, or rehydrated and used in other recipes. And don't forget about powdered eggs and milk. These are incredibly shelf-stable and can be reconstituted with water when needed. The key to successful dehydration is to remove as much moisture as possible from the food. You can use a dehydrator, an oven on a low setting, or even the sun if you live in a dry climate. Just make sure the food is completely dry before storing it in airtight containers. Okay, let's talk about making those long-term rations really palatable. Nobody wants to choke down bland food day in and day out, right? That's where condiments and cooking additions come in. They can make all the difference. Essentials: salt, sugar, and spices. Salt is crucial for taste and preservation. Sugar is a valuable energy source. Spices add variety and make basic ingredients sing. Experiment with different herbs and spices now. You'll thank yourself later when you're enjoying a flavorful meal. Remember, we're not just surviving, we're thriving. Enjoying what we eat is part of thriving. A well-seasoned meal boosts morale when times get tough. Next up, cooking oils. You'll need them for frying, baking, and adding fat to your diet. Olive oil is versatile and healthy, but has a shorter shelf life. Coconut oil is shelf-stable and versatile. Use it for cooking or skincare. Now powdered butter. It has a long shelf life and can be reconstituted with water. Great when refrigeration isn't available. Finally, bouillon cubes. Versatile flavor bombs for soups and stews. Just add to hot water for broth. Elevate simple dishes. Don't overlook condiments. They make a big difference. Enjoy your food and maintain morale. We've gathered our food, now let's talk about making sure it lasts as long as possible. Because what good is a stockpile if it goes bad before you can use it, right? First up, let's talk storage techniques. Mylar bags are your new best friend. These heavy-duty bags, combined with oxygen absorbers, create an airtight environment that keeps your food fresh for years. They're perfect for storing grains, legumes, and even powdered goods. Vacuum sealing is another great option, especially for smaller portions or items you'll rotate through more frequently. It's a great way to extend the shelf life of your food and prevent freezer burn. And don't forget about good old-fashioned canning and pickling. These time-tested methods have been used for generations to preserve food, and they can be a valuable skill to have in your prepper arsenal. Now let's talk about ideal storage conditions. Remember these three words: cool, dry, and dark. Heat, moisture, and light are the enemies of long-term food storage. Find a cool, dark place in your home like a basement or pantry to store your stockpile. Organize your supplies using shelves, bins, or whatever works best for your space. Label everything clearly with the contents and the date. Trust me, you'll be glad you did when you're rummaging through your supplies months or even years down the line. And finally, let's talk about stock rotation. Remember the acronym FIFO, first in, first out. Use the oldest items in your stockpile first and replenish your supplies regularly. This ensures that you're always using the freshest food and minimizing waste. Remember, proper food storage is an ongoing process, not a one-time event. By following these tips and staying vigilant, you can ensure that your stockpile will be there when you need it most. Now folks, we've covered the essentials, the building blocks of a good prepper pantry. But what about specific needs? Maybe you've got allergies, sensitivities, or you're on a special diet. Don't worry, we haven't forgotten about you. First off, if you've got allergies, you know the drill better than anyone. Double-check those labels, keep things separate, and maybe even have dedicated allergy-safe storage. Cross-contamination is a real danger, especially in a crisis, so be extra vigilant. For those with dietary restrictions, gluten-free folks for example, remember, lots of the basics we talked about like rice and beans are naturally gluten-free. But when it comes to processed foods, read those labels carefully. Ingredients can change and you don't want any surprise when you're depending on your stores. And if you're on a high-calorie diet, maybe you're doing heavy work or need those extra calories, think about things like nuts, nut butters, dried fruits, and even hardtack. They're calorie-dense and pack a punch in a small package. Remember, prepping is about being prepared for your needs. Now it's time to shift our attention to morale. A little bit of comfort food can go a long way in a crisis. Chocolate, hard candies, even just a special spice you love. These things might seem small, but make a world of difference for your mental well-being. Remember, stress eats, and in a grid-down situation, stress is going to be in high supply. Having a few treats on hand can help keep spirits up, especially for kids. A little bit of normalcy can go a long way. Don't underestimate the power of a good cup of coffee or tea either. Having those familiar comforts can make a stressful situation feel a little bit more manageable. It's all about those little things that bring you joy, even in the midst of chaos. Well folks, we've covered a lot of ground today. From basic staples to specialty items, we've gone through the essentials of building a food stockpile that will see you through any crisis. Remember, the key is to be prepared, not scared. Start by assessing your needs. How many people are you prepping for? What are their dietary requirements? Once you have a good understanding of your needs, you can start building your stockpile gradually. You don't have to do it all at once. Start small, maybe with an extra can of soup or bag of rice each time you go shopping. Over time, those small additions will add up to a substantial stockpile. Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day. And don't forget to rotate your stock. Use the oldest items first and replace them with fresh ones. This ensures that your food is always ready when you need it. Remember, prepping is an ongoing process, not a one-time event. Building a food stockpile might seem daunting, but it doesn't have to be. Start small, be patient, and most importantly, don't give up. Remember, the goal here isn't to become a doomsday prepper overnight. It's about taking steps to ensure your family's well-being, no matter what life throws your way. Every can, every bag of rice, every jar of peanut butter you put aside is a step towards self-reliance, towards peace of mind. You're taking control of your destiny, and that's a powerful thing. And hey, if you ever feel overwhelmed, remember, you're not alone. There's a whole community of preppers out there, folks sharing tips, recipes, and encouragement. We're all in this together. So what are you waiting for? Start building your food stockpile today. Trust me, you'll thank yourself later. Well folks, that's it for today's video. I hope you found it helpful. Remember, prepping is about being prepared, not scared. So start small, build gradually, and most importantly, don't give up. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more prepping tips and tricks. And be sure to check out the links in the description below for some great deals on food storage essentials. Until next time, stay safe, stay prepared, and keep on prepping.